Welcome to the world of what Gartner calls bi-modal IT. The most effective IT pros must balance the integrity of their systems with helping their business unit colleagues incorporate technologies that advance those teams' functions. It's a brave new world for all parties, especially business pros who increasingly need to get IT on board with the technology of their choice when they themselves don't come from an IT background. That's certainly the case for sales and marketing leaders who want to deploy solutions like SaaS Partner Relationship Management, which can snap in and help accelerate indirect sales. In this webinar, Gartner PRM analyst Ilona Hansen and SaaS PRM leader Impartner CMO Davar Taylor address the top 5 questions that sales, channel, and marketing leaders must ask and answer to win their IT team's support for the PRM technologies their companies need.
Well, surely you will have to have an indirect sales channel approach already in your portfolio. But obviously, if you look around, most of the times we find at Gartner that our customers have scattered the tool landscape around the indirect channel sales model. Meaning, for example, you will find in sales possibly some tools which are supporting any channel sales approach in regards to monitoring, pipeline, closing opportunity, even sales enablement positions to support your sales partners. If you look around, for example, into the marketing team, you will find there might be some tools like lead generation, lead demand creation support providing. But overall, these tools normally don't work together, meaning there is no end-to-end process from the one side to the other, causing inefficiencies. Inefficiencies in the sense that, for example, in one case, it might be possible that tasks are performed twice. For example, as we mentioned already, marketing. Marketing is lead qualifying, handing over to the sales team. The sales team possibly doesn't take over the qualified lead and just thinks they have to start all over again because they don't trust. So if these things are happening, these are some kind of inefficiencies we are talking about, which causing a lot of times, a lot of money, because it's time. Time your people, your organization and your marketing and sales people are not spending by selling and not satisfying possibly the partner demands. This is now the time to look into commercially available partner relationship management applications, because these either provide end-to-end management functionalities where you can decide whether to integrate as a business strategy, so your channel can be managed kind of automated from the first step or first action you're taking from the lead generation, but also including and satisfying all the needs of your channel partners externally. This is the right time now to look into PRM applications if you find kind of these hints I'm just giving you now, if this is the case in your organization as well. This is definitely something you will have to prepare in a very structured way, because normally you being in a marketing or even a sales position, wanting to improve the overall processes across your channel organization internally but also externally, you are already aware of all the different problems or demands you possibly face in your channel organization. But be aware that your IT leaders might possibly not into the technology, might not having considered any demands or requirements internally, but also obviously externally from your partners. So it needs a structured approach here in order to really be prepared for a full discussion and possibly the final decision being made by the IT leaders. There is no way around of talking to IT leaders, obviously, because you want to have the full support. You want to have the PRM application integrated nicely, fitting into the legacy architecture of your organization to ensure that any updates or any changes you might require in the future is obviously conducted not only on your shoulders, but taken responsibilities by your IT leaders. We recommend as Gartner to follow a 5-step structured approach about the benefits, the technical implications, but also the business conclusions you should take out of acquiring a commercially available PRM application. commercially PRM applications, commercially available PRM applications are very much common nowadays in the high-tech industry. And they're used mainly to improve the streamlining of management processes across the sales organization, internally, externally. In the most of the cases, we find at Gartner that collaboration amongst the internal but also external stakeholders is second priority. This is to improve the relationship, the business relationship. By having improved the business relationship in between, for example, your internal sales organization, sales account managers, towards the partner sales account managers, will help to establish a reliable basis for your future growth. So if collaboration is enabled, data is flowing from the one end to the other, everybody can pick up their data at the time they want it. For example, taking into consideration, you might have other geographies, other markets being explored with your channel sales approach. You will have to deal with time zones. So time zones is something which is automatically, to some extent, taken away if you decide yourself for a commercially available PRM solution. Because then partners pick up at any time when it's most convenient for them at their business hours, the data they need. They need the data they need now. So they can even choose not to only pick up, but to pick up which pieces of the data you provide them with. On the other hand, you can monitor. You can monitor exactly as being in the manufacturer's point of view, how much data has been absorbed by which partners. Meaning, for example, you can tailor exactly down to the needs, because in the course of the time, you will automatically learn which parts of the data is most available at what time to a given group of partners. Which features you choose at the end of the day amongst the many which are out there with the PRM applications depends surely on a closer evaluation process, on a deeper evaluation process you might want to take across your channel organization. But don't forget to include your partners and ask for their feedback as well. A part of many benefits we will talk about in a second, you should definitely, in order to start this discussion with your IT leadership, look into those benefits from a prioritizational point of view, which are most applicable to your organization. Across Gartner clients, we find most of the times collaboration is of most important, meaning to ease up time zones independent, language independent, big distances between you as a manufacturer and the distant offshore market possibly where your partners are operating in. On the other hand, these applications provide a lot of functionality for your partners as well. So automation in administrative tasks is the second key point we can see from a Gartner's perspective. This is very important if especially you're talking about different time zones, as obviously you can't encounter yourselves at the same times working the same task. So you have to make sure if most of these tasks can be automated, on the other hand, it can be relieved time with the marketing, but also the channel sales guys across your channel partners. So they, at the end of the day, gain more time to sell your products. What can be done in order to really make this happen? Look into commercially available benefits, look into all the different functionalities and choose which are the ones you're not taking any advantage of nowadays. These can be acquired through the commercially available applications because they provide all these functionalities end-to-end out of the box. It depends at the end of the day, again, of an evaluation process you will have to conduct across yourselves, but also not to forget your external stakeholders, the channel sales partners, especially if they are not in your territory. Make sure you get their feeling, you get their culture, and you get their habits and what is most appropriate to deliver to them. At the end of the day, PRM applications will help to save a lot of time on administrative tasks, relieve approval processes, and improve collaboration. Before you start talking to your IT leadership in regards to whether you should acquire commercially available PRM applications, you should consider and have a look at your industry as well. Meaning, are your competitors actually using these PRM applications already? If not, fantastic. Use it for yourself as a competitive advantage, being the first on the market, streamlining your process, improving collaboration, and automating administrative tasks to free up everybody's time for getting into more sales. If your competitors are already into this technology, if your competitors are already into PRM applications, make sure that you interview the partners, which are to chances are serving you, but also your competitors, about their feedback. This feedback is very valuable for your evaluation process. You should consider whether you and your partners are using the technology, getting the most out of it, requiring the return of investment, but also increasing your sales growth. Having the features of the partners in considered and stored and evaluated and analyzed is most valuable for your evaluation process as well. If you put your demands next to the requirements given by the partners, you will automatically come to a solution which will fit your needs best. Looking into your competition is therefore very valuable from these two points of view. In order to answer this question, you have to have a look at your evaluation process and you have to have a look at your channel organization first. The evaluation process, possibly you want to consider and propose to your IT leadership to form a group of users from all the partners which are involved into this application. PRM applications might streamline your end-to-end processes, meaning this can include marketing, it can include sales stuff, but it also can include the partner services stuff. Make sure that all internal users have a say at some point. You don't necessarily have to talk to everybody, but ensure that you gather some valid feedback in order to make sure where are the demands and requirements actually, and prioritize those. On top, you might possibly consider and propose to your IT leadership management to form a group even externally. Meaning you possibly take one of your channel sales leaders and ask them to interview a group, some considered partners across your channel system in order to gain their feedback as well. It is important to know which legacy systems and technology is up and running at your partners in order to find the best solution which is actually fitting everybody's needs at its most. The evaluation process as such is taking some time, but take this time because nobody wants you to acquire a tool, and especially IT leadership will blame you afterwards, of having acquired possibly a tool which provides you not the features you are actually demanding, or even worse, having a lot of features which you actually don't need and you possibly pay for those. Make sure that the evaluation process is giving enough room, it's giving enough time, and consider the stakeholders in this process, in this group, carefully. In order to really start a discussion with your IT leadership in implementing commercially available PRM applications, you should think about the considerations which are IT leaders mostly interested in. And the technological part is obviously here the key one where we should look into. The most of the PRM applications you can get in the market, or better to say, all of them provide SaaS technology-based cloud business, meaning you can apply those easily from the cloud, you can easily acquire, you can easily install. As most of the cases, you even can get implementation and installing support if needed from the PRM vendors in the market. A few do offer on-premise as well, but it has to be said that this seems to be out of fashion. Nowadays, most applications are moved into the cloud businesses, making, for the given reasons, it's a bit easier for your IT leaders to install and to maintain in the long run. What it's important to know from an IT perspective as well is its easiness to integrate with your ERP, but also CRM systems. So any other legacy system you might want to interact with, the newly acquired commercially available PRM application is easily to be done. Most of the PRM vendors nowadays in this market provide a lot of APIs, even REST APIs, to make these integrations happening. Obviously, it depends on you and your IT leadership which data to flow where. For example, it makes sense to have the unique partner number you're possibly giving by onboarding a channel sales partner into your system, all the way through to the ERP system when looking into the order management. On the other hand, you might want to have inventory numbers or even product numbers delivered all the way through from the forecasting, opportunity management, even down to the inventory management, which might be held in your CRM system. So which pieces, which data synchronization you're taking here into account is definitely a decision you will have to make with your IT leadership in order to really provide the streamlined and end-to-end full business management possibilities. And it depends on whether you have other legacy and which legacy software in place already. At the end of the day, data quality normally improves with this process because if once streamlined and looked at and the data flow is clearly architectured, it's much easier then to follow the business protocols but also the security protocols. Because it's streamlined, it's clear where data is flowing into, and you can make sure, even from the security protocols, that it matches nicely into your ERP possibly, or even into your CRM system. It all depends on how the architecture has been agreed on. This is the moment of truth. You have carefully evaluated. You have spent a lot of time in interviewing and analyzing feedback from stakeholders externally and internally. You have spent time on looking into the market to choose the right PRM application for your organization. Now you've implemented the application and it's running smoothly. But how do you know exactly if this is actually helping you, if it's actually working towards the targets, the corporate targets you initially thought about? The key point here is definitely to set metrics. If you can, go back, look at the data you had acquired earlier. Meaning, if, for example, your regular indirect sales growth year over year had been not more than 5%, you possibly are heading now for 15 or 20%. Go and look into your new application, in your new performances, and evaluate if this is actually given the fact. On the other hand, don't ignore, again, the feedback of your partners. Feedback of the partners is important, satisfaction is important, so are actually all users using the tools you're providing here? Don't look only internally, but also externally. User adoption can be measured, especially with nowadays SaaS-based technology. It's easier than thought of. Acquire and look into these tools and make sure that your IT leadership is supporting you in measuring the right performances, the right KPIs in order to make sure that you're fully aware of the full usage, or possibly you want to improve once you see data is provided to partners but never picked up. So here you will see automatically room for improvement. Go and think about how you can structure this data even better. Or even you don't provide that much data. But possibly you ask your feedback as well in regards to what is needed instead. Are your partners really happy? Are your partners selling more? Are your partners more flexible in addressing customers? Is demand increased? All these metrics can be established. Which one you choose, it depends very much on your overall strategy, on your overall sales strategy, especially for the indirect sales channel. And has to be agreed with your sales management, both also with the IT leadership, in order to make sure it's traceable and can be reported in the way everybody wants to use it.
Impartner builds partner portals for companies that sell through an indirect channel. We find companies who generate a large portion of their revenue through indirect channels, and we bring to them a series of best practices and cloud-based SaaS solutions that enable them to really drive accelerated revenue through their indirect channel. It's something that we're passionate about. We've been doing this for over a decade, and I believe the combination of our experience, the learnings that we've had over the last decade of interacting with companies that sell through an indirect channel, as well as the rich collection of tools that we've brought together into our platform, really enable us to find companies that sell through indirect channels and say to them, we can help drive that revenue growth. We can accelerate your indirect sales. Ilona made a very, very good comment when she wondered about how you recognize that it's time for your company to adopt a PRM or a partner relationship management tool. How do you recognize the need in your company for such a tool? And I can say honestly, it's been very exciting at time for Impartner to see this recognition dawning in the market as companies find pools of technologies in their companies that need to be consolidated. Too many disparate tools are not driving the value proposition that really needs to be focused into the indirect channel. And so I think really the thing that's been driving the market demand for partner relationship management software is as the need for companies to scale their revenue increases, more and more people are turning to indirect channels to find that revenue growth. And as they look through the company, their own company is kind of a microcosm of what we've seen happening in the market, which is a collection of disparate tools that don't integrate together, don't work well together. And because of that, they're not generating the value or the return on investment that you look for. So companies tend to consolidate these tools all together into a platform such as partner relationship management. Impartner recently held our annual customer conference, ImpartnerCon, and we had one of our customers deliver a case study for us at the show. Here's a $1 billion company that gets a lot of their revenue, drives a lot of their revenue through the indirect channel. And as they shared with us the result that they found over the years, a couple of years since they deployed their partner relationship management tool, they shared that they've seen 120% growth in indirect channel revenue. In fact, it's so dramatically higher growth than the remainder of the company's revenue that the CEO even called it out in one of the recent earnings call, pointing specifically to how this indirect channel revenue growth had facilitated the overall growth of the company. So when we see a return on investment like that, 120% growth in channel revenues, that's how we know that we have found the blend of tools that companies need to really capitalize on the value that is represented to them in their indirect channel. It's been interesting for us to see that in most of the interactions that we have with customers, it really is the business owners that have been driving the adoption of partner relationship management software and not the IT team. I think a big reason for that is IT typically doesn't interact with the partner channel. The relationship with channel partners is owned and managed by the business unit. Companies would look to the IT organization to focus on IT security, email infrastructure, cloud-based storage and backup, and all of these things are areas where you typically would turn to an IT organization. But when it comes to enabling a business result through the indirect channel, that is a burden that has really been carried by the business unit owners. In this situation, we really feel that IT should view themselves as a facilitator of the solution, not necessarily the builder of the solution. There may have been a time years ago when an IT organization would have had the developmental capabilities to stand up an FTP site and use it as a partner portal, for example. But in today's world, the demands of the channel have moved on so far from that I can list for you a dozen or more features that the IT department would leave out if they were to take on the role of wanting to build this solution themselves. So to the IT teams, we say, you're the facilitator of this solution, not necessarily the builder of this solution. And unless I come across as an IT detractor, I want to point out that I really am not. I'm very supportive of the role that IT plays in this process. the concerns that an IT team would bring to this process. Concerns like, is it multi-tenant capable? Is there security over the data? Does it integrate with the other tools in our stack that we need to have a single sign-on relationship with? All of these questions are good questions and questions that need to be answered. But we believe that in today's increasingly Legoized IT infrastructure, it is absolutely possible for us to answer the questions to the satisfaction of the IT department and get them on board as the facilitator that we feel they need to be. I think in response to this question, I'll share a quick anecdote. I'll call this one a tale of two companies. Almost a year ago, I guess 10 or 11 months ago, we engaged simultaneously with two companies whose primary business focus was IT security. And not just random companies, they were actually fierce competitors with each other. At company number one, the business owners were very enthusiastic about the solution that we presented to them. They really wanted this on board. They immediately caught the vision for how a tool like ours, this cloud-based solution that we have, could coalesce all these different disparate tools together into one platform that really drove channel value. But they failed to get their IT department to the table soon enough. And as we moved down the process with them, when IT sort of discovered that this was a project that was going on, they dramatically overreacted. There was yelling and stonewalling, and IT ended up pulling the plug on it and refusing to help facilitate the process. Company two, on the other hand, we feel did a great job of bringing IT to the table. They helped paint the business case for what needed to be done, and they took the concerns that the IT department had, such as, where is the data store? Who's responsible for the data? Is this a managed service or something that we can manage ourselves out of the box? They brought those questions to the table. We were able to interact and over a period of a month or so, deal with all of the questions they had through documentation that we have. And I can tell you that now, 10 or 11 months later, Company one still does not have a solution in place. They're still managing their indirect channel partners and indirect channel revenue growth through a decade-old FTP site that I believe truly sub-optimizes the result that they should be generating. Company two, on the other hand, now has what I would consider a world-class portal in place through which they're pushing leads and approving MDF programs and running cooperative marketing campaigns and are already generating powerful results from it. They're in the process of doing case studies for us to help us document the business value that they've created. So looking forward, if I were in the shoes of one of our customers, I would say your journey will be easier if you bring the IT team to the table early on. Help them understand that business value. What is it you're trying to accomplish? And not only what are you trying to accomplish, but what's the business value? Can you represent the business value in terms of a dollar amount or a percentage increase, what the return on investment is? And I believe that if you can do that and help facilitate them, I believe the journey and the result will be all the better. Ilona made what I consider to be a really insightful comment about understanding whether or not your competitors are using partner relationship management software or a PRM tool. Why should we worry about that? Why consider that? I think the answer to that question is that in today's market, as you seek to scale your indirect channel revenue, it's not about finding a partner, it's about finding the right partner. And when you go out to the market to recruit partners to join your channel program, you need to go to them with the right blend of tools, a PRM system, the right blend of terms and conditions, the right margin for them, in order to attract the type of channel partners that are going to really facilitate your indirect revenue growth. If you look at it from the partner's perspective, it is a very competitive market. And if you don't provide them the tools and the processes that they need to be successful, I can guarantee that your competitors will be. So understanding what the channel capabilities and the program capabilities that your competitors have, I think is vitally important. In the channel, partners tend to live on a knife edge of profitability. And anything you can bring to the table, whether it's deal registration that results in margin enhancement, or a lead distribution process where you can get fresh leads into the hands of your good closing partners, any of these things will be viewed by your partners or potential partners as a real benefit to your partner program. And I believe that it will enable you to recruit the partners that are going to really drive your revenue growth. I think I would characterize Impartner's differentiators as being three key things. First of all, we have architected a cloud-based SaaS solution that is truly multi-tenant enabled. This allows us to get features and important security updates deployed through our entire customer base very quickly and efficiently. Secondly, I think it's important that our customers understand that we really have built into this tool layer after layer of data integrity and data security features. We've passed some of the most stringent testing in the market to ensure the high level of security that we can provide to our customers. We want them to understand how safe and secure their data is with us. And I think the third thing would be our knowledge and understanding of the CRM market and our ability to drive a deep integration with the CRM tools that the majority of our customers use, including tools like Microsoft Dynamics, Oracle Sales Cloud, and of course Salesforce.com. In fact, our integration with Salesforce.com has earned Impartner a listing on Salesforce App Exchange. We're the only PRM vendor on the App Exchange. These three things come together to generate a feeling of confidence in our customer base, knowing that we have almost 1.5 million partners logging in through portals that we have developed for some of the largest companies in the world. And I think that scale, as well as the attention to detail, combined with the rich functionality of the modules in the tool, is really what sets us apart from the rest of the pack.